Hello, everybody. I'm
Hello.
realizing I'm realizing I haven't had Mike make a TV club intro yet. Here you go.
So if Movie Club had Fist of a Goo, what would the TV Club intro have? Like the old TGIF shows we forgot about?
I like that.
I don't think there is a TGIF show I've forgotten about. I
What was
even remember You
where it was
Wish.
like the genie? You wish. Thank you. That was the one.
That's creepy, Tony.
I know.
Well, welcome to the LP TV Club, where hopefully we will be discussing TV shows that we will remember for generations to come. Um, I'm joined today with our editorial director for Marvel, Matt,
Hey,
our editorial director for Star Wars, Mike,
Hello.
and our editorial director for animation, Tony.
I don't know. I can get business cards with that now. Cool.
Yeah, if you pay for them yourself. So, you guys are even wearing your branded shirts. Marvel, Pixar. What am I? They So, just because you've got a prop, Mike, I think we should start with you. What happened in this week's Bad Batch?
Oh yeah, this guy came back. Crosshair. He hadn't been in like the last 4 or 5 episodes, but he finally caught up with our heroes, the titular Bad Batch.
Do you think they did that to save money because they could afford like one less cast member? Or I guess they're all performed by the same cast member.
Yeah, pretty much everyone in the show is voiced by the same person. So
did they pay D. Bradley Baker like 1/7 less during those episodes?
no, because Captain Rex was in one of them, and he voices that
Right.
character too. But basically, this guy, Admiral Rampart, he's the Imperial officer that's hanging out on Camino right now. He ordered Crosshair to just kill the Bad Batch, basically. So he found out that they're hanging out on this planet Braca, which is the junkyard planet, the scrapyard planet from the Jedi Fallen Order video game. He tracks them down there. There's a big like showdown. That's pretty exciting. They get stuck in this big ion engine, and he's going to turn it on and destroy all of our protagonists. But then they use these bombs they were taken from the ship, and they blow up the engine and makes it collapse. And then Crosshair is the one who ends up getting bombarded by this ion radiation, and it disfigures him. He ends up in bandages and everything. So that was an interesting development. But the big thing everybody was talking about after this episode is the return of bounty hunter Cad Bane, who I do not have an action figure of, but he's a pretty cool character, very Western influenced from the Clone Wars cartoon. And there was a high noon gunfight between Cad Bane and Hunter, and it ended with Cad Bane basically taking poor Omega away, and that's the cliffhanger ending of episode 8.
So I have a couple questions, Mike. Was Rhea Perlman in Jedi Fallen Order 2, or is that just okay?
No, Rhea Perlman is a new addition. She lives on a different planet called Ord Mantell.
What's her occupation there?
She's a bar owner, but she's also kind of an underworld. Yeah, bar owner. Yeah, there you go. She's not Ted Danson's character, but yeah, she also kind of does all these underworld jobs. She hires people out for all these. They work for Jabba the Hutt and stuff like that.
And then I haven't seen like every episode of Clone Wars, but one thing that caught me was Cad Bane's appearance is about as Western. Like it's not even like an homage. It's just like a complete just playing on every Western trope you could imagine. Is it always that way with him?
It has always been that way with Cad Bane. I do think I do think it borders on a little silly because Star Wars has always had Western elements.
Right.
They got the blasters and the holsters at their sides and stuff, but they always steer it a little bit closer to the sci-fi side of things. Cad Bane is very much. He's got the toothpick. He's got the hat. He's got the bandoliers and stuff. So yeah, very Western.
It felt like they turned him up to 11 in this episode. I even like the voice felt a little bit different too. I have to go back and rewatch Clone Wars, but definitely felt more Western in this. The few seconds that he was in the episode.
Has Cad Bane been shot at all, like with a blaster or anything?
I'm sure at some point.
Does he react like the old time cowboys? Oh, and just falls off to the side.
Well, he has to have the Wilhelm scream, right?
Where did I just hear the Wilhelm scream? I was
Holy
like,
moly! I watched.
Yes,
too.
That's it. That's exactly it. I was like, what? They used the Wilhelm scream in Holy moly.
When one of the guys got blasted by the corn on the cob.
Yeah.
I have lots to say about Holy Moly, but I don't know if I can say it in this form.
It's TV Club.
It's a TV show.
No,
this is
like,
TV Club. It's ABC.
It's the only show where from season 2 to season 3 they replaced Uranus with your pecker.
The pecker.
They love making those puns.
Yep,
they sure do.
So, keeping in the Disney Plus realm, because I guess Wednesday's the new Friday, and that's your show that's already on the air. And so we had a brand new episode of High School Musical, the series, where
the second season,
where they're doing Beauty and the Beast, and they're competing with North High, and like North High is like cheating and is even kind of like they got like a real French guy to play Lumiere, which is more than the original Beauty and the Beast did. But in the end,
we heart Jerry Orbach.
This was not a great episode because it was also just like it just made you glad you're not in high school anymore, because it was just drama. Like nothing happened, just drama. And what I realized is part of the reason that it's probably just a lot of people talking about drama is they couldn't actually show the school because like they can't have that many people on set at any time, when this was filmed. So I don't know if you saw the finale. Well, I guess I'll talk about that. Both Big Shot and Mighty Duck Game Changers this season found ways to play games without having fans and used all sorts of ways to justify it throughout the season. One time the scoreboard fell down on the court. This time there was a bee infestation. But we did get this. We did get the finale of Big Shot, which tees up a season 2. I would say it's a little disappointing because it was kind of pretty clear as where it was going to go. It was a little too on the nose of what was going to happen. Holly gets offered the job to coach at the new school. She's not sure if she's going to take it. Leave it to season 2. Corn decides he's going to stay, which obviously is going to had to happen because if he was in college next year, it'd be a whole other show. But in the end, I enjoyed the show. I don't know. It hasn't been renewed officially yet, but I hope it does just because it didn't really wrap anything up. It just kind of just punted it down the line mixing my sports metaphors. But yeah, you could definitely tell throughout sort of the second half of the season that there were lots of reasons they showed no fans in the stadium. They had one time where like they just didn't allow fans because like they were worried about heckling and stuff. Like no one was like if it was a real team, you'd be like, this is the worst luck team ever because they never get to play any games with fans. But
at that point, why not just have the pandemic happening in the show?
Do you really want to see the pandemic happening on a TV show?
You're right.
But speaking of Disney Plus, I would say the marquee show right now is Loki. And we got our resident Marvel expert, Mac, here to talk about Loki.
Yeah, third episode. This one felt a little bit different from the previous 2, I thought. I mean, we actually got outside of the TVA and got to experience some action there. I want to get your guys' opinion, actually, because I've had two different people now reach out to me and say, that was such a filler episode. Like, it felt like nothing really happened. I'm curious, do you guys feel that way? Because I definitely didn't.
I wouldn't call it filler necessarily, but it definitely felt like an off episode to me because I loved the first two, but I was not on board with this one. I thought the writing was just bad. Like, it was well directed, it looked really cool, but I thought all the dialogue was poor, and the ending just made no sense to me because they were like wandering through the desert, like casually chatting on their way to this town. But there was a time crunch, like there's a ticking clock element, and they just were just like taking their time getting there. I just like, what are they doing? It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Did you feel that way?
I mean, I thought I enjoyed. Those are fair points for sure. I enjoyed the episode, but Benji, sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say that I think my opinion of the episode has been colored by the fact I saw Black Widow, which is a filler movie. Not that it's a bad movie, but
are you allowed to say that yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good. It's a really well done movie, but in terms of like moving the MCU forward, it does nothing. It's weird to watch a movie where you're like, well, I know where this character ends. You have a little bit about what the prequels and stuff, but I feel like Star Wars kind of had like more going on than Black Widow did, which literally is about Black Widow. And like she's not going to lose an arm or anything because she had both arms or something. There's just no stakes to it. But so I don't know. I guess I felt it was less of a filler episode. I'm a little concerned. I agree with Mike on the writing, and this episode was written by the head writer for Ms. Marvel, so we'll see how that goes.
I did like the moment where they had Loki smash the glass, harkening back to his brother.
Yeah, I think this episode was a lot of character development for Loki, and who we now know as Sylvie, previously just the variant, which I'm very happy we have a name for her now. Which also, by the way, Sylvie is a version of Enchantress from the comics, so a different character, a spin on this character here. So I'm curious to see what they do with her. Is she just a variant of Loki, or are they going to turn her into Enchantress, who could be a member of the Young Avengers? I'm really curious to see what they do there. But yeah, we also learned too that the TVA agents, there's way more than what we knew about them previously, that they were, before they worked for the TVA, they were just humans. They were variants who, were taken by the TVA and had their memories wiped, basically. So as something, that put a big twist on the show. So I definitely wouldn't call this filler. I think Mike's points are fair for sure. I think, it wasn't, the first two episodes were certainly better than this one, but I think it definitely progressed the story and gave us some character development. And that final shot, that one shot finale was just really, really cool.
I have a question. Do you think Owen Wilson was, instead of being a human before, was actually like a race car?
I do hope they provide.
How does Loki tie into the Pixar theory? Find out now.
I hope they provide some other explanations. Like, they're not going to all be humans, right? Like, they're going to be, different races or species from around the galaxy. But I'm interested in that. I wouldn't bet on it being Lightning McQueen, though.
Representation matters.
I've only seen the first one. You're not really selling the rest of it now.
The second one is the best, I will say.
All right.
The second one's very good.
Okay.
You talking about the Cars movies?
No.
Okay. The exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
The second one is the worst.
So, Tony, you watched Owl House.
Yes, I went from the adult fare of Marvel on Disney Plus to the fun sensibilities of a Saturday morning on Disney Channel.
Fun Saturday morning.
It's been a few now. I think there's 2 episodes to catch up on.
Yeah, so how's that going?
The season premiere. It's good. I don't know if we've always followed the series, but we'll flash back to the end of season 1 because this show actually has me invested. It's not like Amphibia where I'm like, okay, stuff happens. Next. But at the end of season 1, we see Ida, the owl lady, discover who cursed her, and it turned out to be her sister Lilith. And then at the end of the season, she tries to take the curse away and shares it upon both of them, so they both lose their magic in the process. So Luz, who's the human caught in the boiling isles in the magic realm, she has discovered glyph magic and is now teaching Ida and Lilith how to use that. In the first episode of this season, they are bounty hunting just to kind of save money, and it's not as enticing as Star Wars bounty hunting. It's just little creatures for 600 coins each, and everybody who was once threatened by the legendary Ida the Owl Lady knows that her powers are now gone, so she has really no power, period. She can't intimidate people for more money or anything like that. But Luz feels guilty because it's all her fault. The human realm is closed off because she destroyed it, so the Emperor couldn't come into the human realm. And they're getting all they're scrapping by, and Luz has a special diet because she's a human in the magic realm. So Ida and her sister are going broke taking care of her. So Luz decides to go and hunt down the Selkie Damus, which is this basically like almost like a Norwal, but in the wizarding realm. I'm not going to say the wizarding world because that implies something totally different. In the magic realm. And the new Lilith, who was the assistant to the Emperor, is now considered a traitor and has been replaced by the Golden Guard, who's like this pretentious teen boy who acts basically as a spoiled brat. And he basically bribes Luz and Ida to hunt down this creature, or he'll kill King the Demon by throwing him in a cage into the boiling isles. Of course, they trick him. They basically, Ida, using her first glyph, makes a dummy whale and gives that to him. And then in doing so, the whale coughs up a bunch of Selkie Gris, which is basically like a moisturizing cream that's worth a fortune. And that's how they survive now. Flash forward to the next episode, which was last Saturday, and we go to Amity. Now, if anybody just does a simple Google search of the Owl House, they're going to hear all about Amity and Luz and their relationship. So the second episode, we immediately, for the first time this season, see Amity, not counting the opening sequence, with her parents being punished. Yes, Benji, go.
Is Amity spelled the same way as like
Jaws? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Is there a reason you ask?
Because now I just expect like a shark to show up.
No. Those are only her parents.
Her just look like.
Kind of. She's usually got like a weird stunned face. But no, her parents are the founders of Blight Industries, who specialize in abominations and weaponry and defense abominations. Excuse me. Abominations in the world of this show are like these weird, like putty almost creatures that basically do the bidding of whoever made them. And Amity is being punished for her bad performance at school last season because she was distracted by Luz and her new friends Willow and Gus. So she's being punished to do better in school by helping her parents sell these products. And when a picture of Luz and Amity and Willow and Gus is about to be destroyed, she comes in and saves the day and destroys the products, completely blowing the ruse and ruining all the sales. And as such, Amity's mom is furious, and they decide to go in as the presidents of the Parent Creature Association at the school, pressure Principal Bump into getting rid of her friends so Amity can focus in school, and the three are expelled. And Luz strikes a deal with Amity's mom, like, I'll help you sell your products, but you got to let them back into school. Realizing that she can get Luz out of the picture entirely, the mom sets it up and says, sure, let's do it. And these creatures, though, won't stop until their target is completely destroyed and eliminated, and Luz doesn't realize that, but Amity does and comes in and saves the day, saying, and I quote, "Get away from my Luz." Even though they're friends. Which is, again, just Google search it. You'll find out a bunch. It's good stuff. But so Amity strikes the parent deal with her parents. Let all my friends back into school, and I'll pretend this is actually doing its job. And they do and succeeds. The mom's going to back out on it, but the dad insists that no, they don't, or no, she doesn't back out on the deal. A blight always sticks to their deals. And the students go back to school. But the dad says something really cryptic. He says, she's getting stronger now. She could even be a coven head one day. And we don't know if it's, after watching it like 4 or 5 times like I did, you don't know if it's implying Amity or maybe somebody else. So, and then at the end, we see the Golden Guard come in and basically say he bought all the abominations on behalf of the Emperor. It was all him because the Emperor doesn't take kindly to private citizens building their own personal armies. So something's coming. What's up, Kyle Burbank?
So I have a question. So we had Rio Perlman on The Bad Batch. We had Lilith on.
I desperately wanted it to be voiced by BB Newworth, but it's not.
Okay.
I absolutely wanted that to be a thing. As soon as I found out her name, I looked that up on IMDb. It's not.
Okay, so I guess the last show we got is this week's episode of Sydney to the Max. In this week's episode, it's a real tour de force of Caroline Rhea, who I don't believe ever appears.
More than the 25th anniversary special of Walt Disney World?
Yeah. Sydney's becoming a teenager and is pushing back on, is left alone with grandma for the weekend, and they have a great time. But they get this new video game with the, I want to say his name is Frankie something, but it's like the sort of generic heartthrob that they keep talking about in the show. And she ends up lying to the grandmother about things because they, she wants to stay up to watch this virtual concert with her friends. They end up, and grandma finds out. And so this relationship, which has always been sort of like fun grandma kind of thing, gets twisted. Then Max, her dad, talks about how like he was always giving his mom a hard time. And so then she feels bad. And then they kind of have a conversation about how like as teenagers, she's probably going to push boundaries and it's her job to, push back. But that doesn't mean they don't love each other. Meanwhile, in 1993, Max is caught cleaning up a broken vase that keeps getting broken. And so the mom comes in and says, "You broke my vase." And he goes, "I didn't. You need to trust me." And she goes like, "Why would I trust you? You're always lying." And he goes, well. So then Leo comes in, who's been watching too much like true crime shows with his grandma, ends up trying to prove that it wasn't him. Max's mom, Caroline Rhea, doesn't believe him. But then Leo leaves, so Max gets upset and he leaves and closes the door. And then this temporary vase they put on to like show from a forensic standpoint falls down. So she realizes that it wasn't him; it was the door when she left, and that's what broke the vase. And then so back in present day, Max comes back from his vacation with his seeing Leo, and he comes back with he said he went with Leo's son to like one of those ceramic places. And so they show him, he shows this thing, and she goes like, "Oh, well, at least he tried." And Max goes, "No, that's mine." And so then he ends up saying it should go someplace special. So he puts it on the mantle. And then obviously, as anyone who's ever seen a Disney Channel show would predict, he leaves, closes the door, it falls down and breaks. And Caroline Rhea's character says, "Don't worry about it. It was going to accidentally break anyway." And so that was this episode of Sydney and Max. It's kind of nice because they've had some pretty heavy episodes lately, like on divorce, microaggressions, and things like that. So it's kind of fun just to have more of a traditional family comedy episode, just as a little breather. Not that those other things aren't important, but you don't want it to become Blossom.
Whoa.
Starring Oliver and Company's Joey Lawrence. So, Mike, what's your big show for this week? What are you going to watch?
I'm super in Holy Moly, like we talked about earlier.
It's tonight.
Lego Masters has been good. Rick and Morty, not Disney related at all. Those
But
are
we can
the
make a connection.
those
What
are the
about you,
big
Tony?
ones.
It's on Hulu afterwards, right? So there you
Oh
go.
yeah, there you go. There you go.
Tony?
I'll be watching more Owl House because, like I said, I'm engrossed in this thing. Holy moly as well. And I don't know, maybe I'll have to watch episode 2 of Loki, much to my other half's enjoyment. She'll be very excited for that. So. So you guys all know I'm not big on Marvel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was subjected to it, the first episode, and they found I was like, I kind of like this. They were like, oh yes, we got him on another one. So
what about you, Mac?
Well, I've been running around like crazy the past week, so I have a lot of TV to catch up on, including Holy Moly. So I'll be doing that pretty soon. But also just finished up Cruel Summer, the Freeform series, and really, really enjoyed that. And that's all on Hulu too. So I highly recommend checking that out.
I'm looking forward to catching When Nature Calls, which is just supposedly like it's supposed to be animal footage narrated in a humorous way by Helen Mirren. Sounds terrible, but sounds fun. So I'll check that out. Also, on Animal Planet, they recently debuted America's Funniest Home Videos Animal Edition. So it's like what you love about AFV, but minus the crotch shots. So, it's safe to watch.
Have you guys watched, I know it's not technically Disney, but IFC's documentary now?
I've seen the first couple seasons.
Okay. I think there's only 3. But if Helen Mirren can pull off that dry, this is serious with gravitas on When Nature Calls, I'll subscribe. But yeah.
I hope she's my nominee for new Spaceship Earth narrator.
Okay.
I like that.
Jeremy Irons is still alive. They can bring him back, you cowards. So
I feel like Jeremy Irons. I feel like they burned that bridge. I don't know what happened, but he was doing Disney work and then none.
So would you say that you have no idea what happened?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Kyle made
that was a bad Scar rendition, by the way, but
that was really bad.
Yep.
So apparently Kyle wants
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I think you were saying When Nature Calls. I was going to ask you about the Ace Ventura sequel.
Yeah.
Because that's a movie that needed a sequel.
It did.
Alex keeps telling me it's better than the original.
I agree.
I'd agree with that. And I would say that you could watch the sequel today more than you could watch the first one. So
the first one I don't think would be acceptable.
That's what I meant by that, but yes.
Any case, thanks so much for joining us for TV Club. We will be back next week with six exciting shows to across the Disney universe, but mostly Disney Plus. Next week we will have The Mysterious Benedict Society, Loki, Star Wars: The Bad Batch, High School Musical: The Musical Series, Sydney to the Max, and Owl House. And this will be our season finale. We're going to take a little bit of a break after that, so join us.
Agreed.
That'd be like it's like chewing mode, except
Irons mode,
Scar mode. Who is the original narrator?
Before Walter Cronkite, it was Vic Morrow. No, is that right? No.
From the Twilight Zone movie?
It's a name similar to that. But yeah. Because I remember that's how I remember it.
Vic Perrin.
Vic Perrin.
Similar as in he had the same first name.
And a double R in there.
Do you know what he's most famous for?
Vic Perrin?
No, he was the voice of the introduction for The Outer Limits. No,
interesting that the other one was in the Twilight Zone movie then.
Maybe that, didn't work out so well for him, did it?
Oh, man.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
See you later.